So, in today's video, I want to help you dive deep into the emotional landscape of the fearful avoidant attachment style, specifically when they are in conflict. Now, if you are the fearful avoidant attachment style listening to this, my goal for you in this video today is that you can take away a deeper understanding of what your inner world feels like in a conflict so that you know how to, number one, have compassion and empathy for yourself. And number two, understand these four stages that you experience in the typical conflict situation so that you know how to disrupt these stages and create healthy changes if you're feeling stuck or really weighed down by any of them in particular, because they can be quite tough. And if you are the loved one of a fearful avoidant, my goal for you is that you can have more understanding, more compassion for your fearful avoidant loved one, and also know how to approach the fearful avoidant best in these typical stages of conflict that the fearful avoidant may be experiencing. And as I've mentioned in other videos, when we talk about the inner world of each of the attachment styles in conflict, you shouldn't, if you're the loved one of a fearful avoidant, just hear how they are and have compassion for them and never have standards or needs, but instead understand them, have compassion, and still express your needs in the relationship as well. Still have standards for what it is that you're looking for or wanting. Those are not mutually exclusive things that I keep mentioning in this video series. So hopefully there's some really powerful learnings for you here today. Now, I want to say one other thing before I kick off here, which is that this is not just based on my own personal experience as somebody who was a fearful avoidant attachment style before doing the work to become securely attached, but also this is based on thousands of different client experiences I've had over the past 12 or so years, discussions I've had with students at the personal development school, workshops, webinars, even loved ones that I've had discussions with. So this is really a very strong set of patterns that emerges in terms of these four stages fearful avoidants tend to experience. So, stage number one is in a conflict. First, a fearful avoidant feels hurt. And I think that sometimes when you are the fearful avoidant or the loved one of a fearful avoidant, what's most obvious is the anger or the frustration. But really, before any of that happens, the fearful avoidant first feels a tremendous amount of hurt. And they are quite sensitive and they try really, really hard in their relationships. And so, if you are the fearful one listening to this, I'm sure you know firsthand how much pressure you put on yourself to take care of people or never hurt anyone or show up in the best way that you can. So, usually, when something goes awry, because you value your emotional connection so much, it can be really painful, it can be really hurtful. But when that hurt is paired with helplessness, it creates anger. So, I'm going to talk to you about this. So, hurt is the first stage. If the conflict isn't getting anywhere, isn't improving, there then becomes this feeling of like helplessness that follows, where it's like, okay, I feel stuck. I don't know how to convey where I'm coming from or how to resolve this, or even how to maybe get an apology from somebody or an acknowledgement. And so that hurt quickly turns into a feeling of helplessness. And as soon as that helplessness stays for too long, you will know this if you are a fearful avoidant, that helplessness quickly turns into frustration. And it's not so much that fearful avoidants are simply just frustrated with the person that they're in a conflict with. It's much more that fearful avoidants are so frustrated about their own helplessness. See, this is a big wound for fearful avoidants. Fearful avoidants usually grow up in an environment that makes them feel helpless, and they do not like to feel helpless. In fact, fearful avoidants will go out of their way to build their lives in a manner that allows them to avoid feeling helpless, trying to rely on as few people as possible or trying to overcompensate for things or over deliver on things so people can't take things away from them. I mean, there's a lot of like underlying distress there. So then that helplessness, which is that sort of stage two, turns quickly into stage three, which is frustration and anger. And this is what most people tend to observe from the external perspective from a fearful avoidant. Even if it's just like frustration that people are picking up on, if it's not like an extreme conflict, that frustration or anger definitely ends up being the thing that the fearful avoidant feels next. And this can lead them to appear like they're on the roller coaster. They've just been pouring into a relationship. You know this if you are a fearful avoidant, been pouring into a relationship, trying so hard, and suddenly, through that hurt and then helplessness and then frustration and anger, it seems like you're this angry person. But there's usually a whole backstory there. And if you are the loved one of a fearful avoidant, when this happens, one of the best things to do to help a fearful avoidant remain calm and come back to themselves is to just validate their emotions. Hey, I can see you're hurt and I can see that you're upset and I get it. Just something where it's like an empathy statement goes such a long way in helping to solve for the conflict. And also, if you are a fearful avoidant listening, ask for that. Say, hey, I'm feeling angry because I don't feel like you understand where I'm coming from. Please, you don't have to agree with me on everything, but I just need to know you can see why I feel upset right now or why I feel the way that I feel. And usually when somebody says yes, it has the power to really, really help you calm down. Now, I will say before I go to the fourth stage, and it's sort of the stage that happens if we don't resolve from one of the earlier three stages, is if you want to do a deeper dive into conflict resolution, it's such a powerful topic and it's so important for relationships. And we actually cover a lot of it in a course that I have called How to Repair Any Relationship. This course is designed to help you navigate conflict and difficult situations for all relationships, family relationships, friendships, romantic partnerships. And it helps you also see like, is this a healthy thing to try to invest in working out? Or should I just have a set of boundaries instead? So it really helps you get clear so that you can repair a relationship on your terms in a way that's healthy for you. So you can actually check it fully for free, just for a limited time, but I will put that link down below for now. Fourth stage. If we don't get resolution from the hurt to the helplessness to the anger, the last stage is to go cold. And fearful avoidance, when they get really hurt and really helpless and feel frustrated or angry enough for a long period of time, they actually really shut off. And, we know this to be a more avoidant leaning thing with dismissive avoidance. And it's something that dismissive avoidance do more pervasively. But when a fearful avoidant shuts down, they do it more intensively. And it's rare that they do compared to a dismissive avoidant, but when they do, they can go very, very cold. And this is this deep protective mechanism that they've used to essentially navigate their chaotic environment, upbringing, household, things like that. And it's something that's a deep, deep wired coping mechanism. And it doesn't mean that they're cold forever. Fearful avoidance, if you get properly validated, if you rebuild trust, if you see that somebody's really trying to change, you will have the ability to warm back up. Especially if there's a lot of empathy and presence and care expressed from somebody. But if somebody doesn't show those things, then it can actually be a lot more difficult to warm up. Anyways, there's a lot more we could talk about this. Maybe we'll talk about the fearful avoidant warming back up in another video. If you have more questions about this topic, let me know in the comments down below. And as always, thank you so much for stopping by here. Please, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing or liking or sharing. I would really appreciate it. And I can't wait to see you in future videos.